Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello. Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. Welcome to the Wednesday ranking show. We are going to go over my fantasy football rankings for NFL Week 4 using half PPR scoring, since that is what Fantasy Pros grades us on. I thought I had one of my better weeks ranking last week, and I ended up with the worst ranking from Fantasy Pros I've gotten of all time. So I don't know what it means. Like, truly, I don't know. I'm not sure, but whatever. Trevor, how's it going? And I should say Luke is not with us for tonight. He'll be back soon. But how are you doing?
Luke isn't here. It sucks. He quit already, but maybe he'll find his way back. Maybe we'll let him back.
Maybe. We shall see. I have a feeling every time he's not on, he's very active in the comments. So I think we'll see him soon. But yeah, we're just here going over our rankings and then answering any questions you guys have. So if you are watching live, you just jump in the chat and talk about whatever. If you are listening to this after the fact, either at Spotify, Apple Podcasts for the Fantasy Football by Committee show, or in our Facebook group at Fantasy Football by Committee, which is a great place to join as well. Just know you can join us 7 p.m. Central on YouTube every single Wednesday, and we go live before kickoff on Thursday as well. So join us there. But before we go anywhere, I'm not even sure if Trevor knows about this, but give it up for Stoof. Clap it up for Stoof, Trevor. What the fuck happened there, Stoof? We ended the Thursday show with Ronnie Bell anytime touchdown tonight. Ronnie Bell had not been targeted to this point in his NFL career. And Stoof, from the fucking top rope, just like, yeah, this is going to happen, just so you know. And I said, if it happened, he's welcome on the show whenever he wants. So actually, whenever the hell you want, Stoof, let me know. I'll get you the information. You can come back on this. You can actually come onto the show if you want. If you don't, regardless, legendary. It just adds to the enigma of whoever the hell you are. It's truly great.
See, I heard he called a touchdown. I was like, cool, a guy called a touchdown. Who cares? I didn't realize it was Ronnie Bell. What a shout out.
You must be a Michigan fan? I don't know. Because I'm like, oh, yeah. And I had to look up which team he was on. I didn't know where he went. Yeah, but I don't know if Stoof did either, but congrats to you. But let's just start with the fantasy rankings. And again, Stoof, glow all you want all night between this show or Lombardi Sweep. Go ahead. The floor is yours tonight. But let's start with quarterback rankings here. My top 5 for the week, little weird, but I think it's pretty standard across the board in terms of the industry. My number 1's Josh Allen versus Miami. I have Jalen Hurts number 2 versus the Commanders, Justin Herbert 3 versus the Raiders. Then I have Patrick Mahomes 4 at the Jets and Tua 5 at the Bills. Is there a name there that stands out to you?
For me, Jalen Hurts. We've known his fantasy values from his legs for a while now, really since he came into the league. And I don't know if this is just me, but it seems like he's even more reliant on those rushing touchdowns now than he was in years past. I'm a little worried about that, but obviously that, 1 yard away from the goal line play is they're just going to run it till somebody stops it and nobody's going to stop it. So, as much as it kind of hurts me to put him as high as 2, he's playing Washington. And again, if they get to the 1 yard line, he's scoring a touchdown. So that's really the only thing you're thinking about.
Yeah, I agree. I think the passing yards could come in this matchup as well, but we'll see. We'll see. His passing certainly hasn't been on point yet this year, but I feel like Washington's a good get right game. I think Josh Allen experienced that last week, so we shall see. Um, Notable names. I'll compare this to the industry consensus right away, just because it felt like a straightforward week for quarterbacks. I don't know, but I'm 4 spots higher on Daniel Jones at 8. I think he has a pretty good game against the Seahawks. I have Russell Wilson 5 spots higher at 10. I thought I think Russell Wilson's actually looked really good the past 2 weeks, um, especially last week. I mean, final score, box score analyst, whatever, be damned. I think the Broncos offense looked good last week, and I think Russell Wilson gets to experience an even easier defense, obviously playing Chicago this week. So I think he's worth a start this week. I don't know. What about you? I know
Yeah, I
Luke.
mean he's been solid. It's just tough. It's kind of like Jared Goff was, I want to say, 2 years ago. Um, at least fantasy production wise, he was putting up numbers. The team was just hot trash, and you kind of lose sight of the production when you see a team losing by 20, 30 points every week. But he definitely brings value. Chicago's defense, it really doesn't matter how good they are because their offense is so bad. And I think this is a get right game for the Denver defense as well. I think they're better than they played, even though Vance Joseph is bad at his job. Um, so I think the Bears defense is going to be out there a lot, and Sean Payton's going to want to run up the score.
Yeah. I mean, the Broncos need something to feel good about. The Bears are completely checked out already, so it doesn't truly matter. Ralph in chat has a wide receiver question, which I'll jump to quickly just because I don't think we're going to be there for a sec. Would you start Adam Thielen or Tank Dell in the flex this week? I like both players a ton this week, but I have Thielen 3 spots ahead of him. I have him as wide receiver 30. So I'm going him. I think regardless of quarterback, but if Andy Dalton is the quarterback this week, for sure. Like there's zero thoughts. I'm going Adam Thielen. What about you?
Um, yeah, I'd probably go Thielen too. Like I want to go Tank Dell, but they're playing the Steelers and they don't have. Is it a right? I think they're down two right or left tackles. It's Houston, one of the positions on the
They're
ends.
getting. I mean, they were without 4 of their starters. Week 1, they were without 3 of their starters last week. They're getting healthier. They're
Yeah,
doing fine.
like they're getting healthier, but they're still missing way too much with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith coming into town. That's not saying that Tank Dell isn't going to do anything, but that has me a lot more concerned than Carolina against a Minnesota defense that can't stop anything as of recently.
It's revenge week. There's so many revenge spots. You have to play Adam Thielen against the Vikings. You have to do it. There's also Calvin Ridley against the Falcons. You have Jameis Winston against the Bucks. You have there's a few more. There's a few more. I can't remember. But there's a few revenge spots. Geno Smith, obviously, playing the Giants in prime time. There's a few other ones too. You have to feed into the narrative. You got to have a little fun this week. Play Adam Thielen. You're good. But yeah, those are the 2 quarterbacks I'm higher on this week: Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson. It looks like my rankings haven't updated in their system yet. I'm still maybe slightly lower on Anthony Richardson. It looks like the consensus has him at 7. In my rankings, once they update in the system, apparently I have him at 9. So he's good this week. It looks like he's going to be active. I somehow picked him up in a league. Zero doubts. If he's active, you play him, and it sounds like he's going to be active. But I'm 4 spots lower on Joe Burrow. I have him at 13. Consensus has him at 9. What's your thoughts on Joe Burrow?
I haven't been moved by anything Cincinnati has done. Um, I really thought this was going to be a game Monday night where I thought they'd show me something, and they just didn't. Um, I know Aaron Donald is there, and their defense, isn't a complete sieve, but I mean, man, he just has struggled. I'm glad he got Jamar Chase involved, but I mean that offense still is not moving the ball as they should, and it's been 3 weeks now. It's don't completely panic, but the alarm bells are ringing.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning, and the offensive line isn't playing fantastic. The Titans are capable of getting after the quarterback. I don't think they're a massive threat, but I think they're capable of shaking Burrow a little bit. So definitely a spot to watch. I don't know. I'm not overly confident. I think you probably have a better choice to start. Just below him, I have Brock Purdy and Jared Goff. You would have to decide on Jared Goff obviously tomorrow, and I almost would be willing to play Goff just because anything could happen with Joe Burrow. Like it's day by day with Joe Burrow right now, I think.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, when it comes to Jared Goff, I'm firing him up against the Packers. I know he's on the road, and statistically, that's not great for him. But I'm not at all sold on the Packer defense, and I think no matter how the game plays out, I think he's got the game script for him. Like if they're winning, you think Dan Campbell's going to chill out? No, he's not. And if they're losing, he's clearly going to be slinging the rock. And I'm not worried about that Packer defensive line, not with the Lions offensive line. So I think he's going to have a solid game.
Agreed. We have a question from, I'll go Trixie. That'll be my guess there. Over on Twitch, he just traded James Conner and Tutu Atwell for Aaron Jones. What do you think? We're Packer fans. We have a Packer podcast immediately after this, so we're both big Aaron Jones fans. We both understand that the Packers don't use him correctly. Like he'll come out in the red zone for a running back who's much, much, much less talented. But on the flip side, we've talked about James Conner being a sell high candidate. We said it all training camp. And after a good start, are you selling him high right now? Is this selling high to you?
No, like I like this trade. I like getting Aaron Jones and getting rid of Connor and Tutu, but this isn't selling high on James Conner and Tutu Atwell for me. I know not, most people understand what you're selling Tutu at, it being his height, but I think you can get a little more for James Conner in this. I'm surprised you weren't able to also get a wide receiver, but in the long run, I think Aaron Jones is probably the better side of this trade.
Yeah, I'm just, there's one running back who's healthy, one running back who's hurt, and they're both performing decently well when they're on the field. So I'm going to stay with Connor at the current moment. I would much rather trade for, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can get Travis Etienne, but I'd rather trade for Josh Jacobs. That would be buying low on him. Like, I think I'd rather do that than Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I just don't trust it. Hamstrings are weird. I'm not going to buy a hurt running back right now, not in this market. Any other quarterback you want to talk about?
Not really.
Pretty boring quarterback week. It's not fun. It wasn't fun to rank. It's not fun to talk about. It's just we know who's good, we know who's bad, and there's a bunch of people who we can't predict, which sucks. Lolly asks, Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper for Austin Eckler. Which side would we go? I mean, obviously, we'll get it out of the way where we just say it depends on how your team looks. Obviously, position-wise, I assume the team trading away Allen and Cooper must be incredibly stacked at wide receiver. So let's just assume both teams are fine at both positions. Trevor, are you taking this trade, or which side of the trade would you want?
I am taking Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper. Like Eckler is coming back from injury. I love Austin Eckler, but like Keenan Allen is going to get his. Obviously, he's not going to get 20 targets a game, but he's going to get a lot. And I think Amari Cooper is a solid flex play week in, week out. I wouldn't do this trade, especially Eckler coming off injury. Like we've seen him struggle with injuries, not a ton, but a decent amount. He's coming off injury. Now you're going to trade two certain things for him. I don't see it.
Yeah, I feel like Cooper would have to be probably your wide receiver 4 for me to do this trade. Like Keenan Allen, wide receiver 3 or 2, and then Cooper, wide receiver 4. Tough because they're both playing really well right now. Running backs, though, and I will say, first London game this week kind of snuck up on me until I started doing the rankings. So we have a couple top tier rushing attacks that are going to be over in London. Obviously, make sure your lineups are in order. If you have your daily fantasy drafts, DFS lineups, anything like that, just make sure those are done. Early morning start for the Falcons and the Jaguars, which affects Bijan Robinson and Travis Etienne. But I do have McCaffrey number 1 versus the Cardinals. I have Robinson then number 2 at the Jags, or in London against the Jags. I have Kenneth Walker 3 at the Giants, Tony Pollard 4 versus the Patriots, and then Travis Etienne over in London against the Falcons. I'm still playing around with the thought of Josh Jacobs being top 5. I think it's close. But what do you think of those 5, Trevor?
I think it's Christian McCaffrey and everybody else. Bijan Robinson is an incredible talent. He's a great player, but he's still not going to get the full workload where I trust him to be number 1 really ever. And he probably won't be this year. Kenneth Walker, you can question that with Charbonnet there. I don't think he's a huge role, but he'll take something. Tony Pollard against Bill Belichick. I'm taking Bill Belichick every time. I don't trust that. And now you're getting into 5, 6, 7. So I think it's Christian McCaffrey 1, and I think this is how most of the rest of the season is going to carry out. Christian McCaffrey is a clear-cut 1, and then everybody else kind of in a decent-sized tier on their own from 2 to 10.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There's few, I would say like maybe half of the league situations are like running backfields I don't really want a part of. So, when you cut out half the league, then maybe only 2 or 3 have a true bell cow role. It's really weird. It's weird this year. Obviously, the Nick Chubb injury affects things. We should get David Montgomery back this week, but there's been a few just shitty injuries. It's just, I don't know. It makes everything worse. But I do believe in the players over in London. I haven't checked what the potential weather is going to be there yet. I don't know if it's going to be a sloppy, rainy game. But regardless, both teams coming off of losses, I feel like they kind of have to pound the rock a little bit. I don't know. I feel like both teams kind of got out bullied last week, and they both pride themselves with their offensive lines winning at the point of attack to set up everything else. So watch for a big running game over there. Derrick Henry, I have him ranked 7th, and I feel terrible about it. But what's your thoughts on him right now?
I truly don't know what to think about. Like, I really don't. It's really early, which kind of sucks, because like what I mean, we've seen him have 3-game bad stretches before, not this bad, but I think the curveball in there for me is the amount of touches they're getting Tyjae Spears. I think he's a good player, but it's still weird seeing him out-touch Derrick Henry. I don't really know kind of what their game plan is, because if you want to save Henry, I think we're already kind of past that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking at their snap count right now. So Derrick Henry ended up playing 17 of 47 snaps. Tyjae Spears 27 of 47 snaps, but only 4 of the plays Spears was in for were running plays. So I mean, the Titans' offensive line is the worst in the NFL, and they just thought they had no shot running the football, I guess. So that's why Henry wasn't even in the game, because there's no point in doing that. But I don't know. They had no shot to pass either. Like, their offensive line's so bad. It's really, really sad for everybody involved, I think. But I'm not ready to give up on Derrick Henry. At some point, he's gonna say something. Like, I truly think he's just going about his business in Tennessee right now. And at some point, he's going to demand the football. And it'll change things around. The offensive line will get better. It's not going to become average at any point. But like, they were without Skoronski this week on top of it. That's a horrible offensive line somehow made worse. So once they get healthier, they gel a little bit more, and they're in games. Like, they just have to be in games, and Derrick Henry will be on the field. Then he'll come around. This week, though, he plays Cincinnati. So are they going to be in the game, or are they not going to be? And it depends on which Cincinnati team shows up.
That's true. I automatically said no, and then I realized Joe Burrow and that offensive line and that offense in general. So they might be.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's another game where Tennessee can't just fucking drop back and pass. There's no shot. Hendrickson will destroy them. So they need to run the football. Like, that's not a secret, but they truly do. Otherwise, they're not even going to be an ounce successful. Stoof wants to know the best and worst case trade scenarios for Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. Are we talking real life or like what you think you can get for them in fantasy? Let me know that. Because two very different things. Stefan on YouTube. Should I start Jerry Jeudy, Slant Boy, who I mean, it's Michael Thomas. It's sad that that's who that is. And Hollywood Brown in full PPR. Who should I start between the three? Let's look at my rankings. I think Judy's ranked the highest. I really do. Well, maybe not. Where the hell is he? Where did I rank him? Slant Boy is 41. Jerry Judy's 32. I do think he gets going this week.
Yep.
Like, it's the Broncos. Or it's the Bears. It's the Broncos too. But yeah, I kind of like him this week. I think I would go that order, though. I think I'm going Hollywood Brown last.
Yeah.
Would you trade Henry for Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones looked amazing game one. I mean, Daniel, we for sure, no matter what our answers are, zero down Aaron Jones' ability. He's a top 5 running back in the NFL. With that being said, I think I want Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I don't see the way this trade helps you because, I mean, Aaron Jones looked great game one. And I know this is so repetitive and everybody says it, but truly, what is Aaron Jones without the touchdowns? And I know you can say that about everybody, but he doesn't get the snaps or the touches. So for him, it's a legitimate question. What is he without the touchdown? And I don't think he's a guarantee to get him every week. He should be, but LaFleur doesn't use him that way.
There's a disconnect between people who analyze the Packers and just the rest of the NFL fans. Like, everyone knows Aaron Jones is good. So everyone's valuing him as if the Packers use him as a very good running back. And I think that's where people question Aaron Jones' value. 2 Packer fans here, 2 Packer analysts here, they take him out in the red zone for A.J. Dillon, who can't fall forward for a yard. Like, that's the reason why the Packers missed the playoffs last year, is because Dillon couldn't do it. So Aaron Jones should be a top 5 fantasy running back. Easy, but he's not. Correct. And Steve wants to know, says where they go in real life. Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, best and worst case scenarios. Well, I mean, worst case scenario for Jonathan Taylor is Miami. For just sheer confusion, because he's going to go there and it's not going to work because there's going to be a week where Jeff Wilson's getting the touches over Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't pay him. There's no shot. The actual best place for Jonathan Taylor is probably Arizona.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I mean, how much does James Conner have left in those legs?
Right. And he would be the featured guy. And he plays in a physical run-first offense, which should be better next year, theoretically. Derrick Henry, best and worst. I still feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are getting Derrick Henry. That was kind of my prediction this offseason. They ended up getting a couple running backs, but boy, him in a tush-push style offense is what I'm essentially calling Philadelphia would be disgusting. That would be my dream scenario.
I don't really know where Henry goes. Like, I can't envision him in a different jersey. I guess that's kind of my holdup. I don't know where he works. Like, I can't see a place where he would not where he would do well, but like a place where he would fit. I'm blinded by it.
I mean, he'd fit in Cleveland. Where else would he fit? That actually makes sense. Honestly, this could be fun. What if he went to the 49ers?
You know what the funny thing is? That's what I was thinking. I was like, they don't have enough resources to do it. That would be fucking fun. Just use him as a second fullback. Can you imagine a powerhouse formation with Juszczyk, Henry, and McCaffrey back there? What do you do?
I don't know. That's a true thunder and lightning combo too. That would be very fun. Very fun. Brindlaw. I almost wonder. Okay, I don't know who that is. I have a question from Twitch for the people listening at home. I have Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, baby. Say Flowers. Give me first names, people. Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver. I have Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Zach Moss, Kyron Williams, maybe, or Jamal Williams.
Or Javonte.
Maybe David Montgomery and Charbonnet at running back. Someone dropped Watson. Deshaun Watson? I don't.
Probably Christian.
I don't know.
I don't like looking at this team. First of all, I'd question how many teams are in your league. If you have JJ Wilson and Allen, come on. If it's Christian Watson, there's no reason to pick him up. Like, we need to stop talking about Christian Watson being a valuable asset in fantasy. I just don't see it. He's never on the field, and when he is, you're praying for touchdowns because the Packers don't pass enough, and Jordan Love isn't enough of a consistent completion passer to get him value.
I feel like I'm being trolled, and Stoof's the only person who can do that with the names for me. I have no thoughts on your question. If you specify, I'll help. I truly don't know. I'm stuck. What are your thoughts on Javonte Williams? I think he's a buy low candidate.
Good player.
Yep. He had some good plays last week too. You're welcome, Daniel. Okay, Stefan. Here we go. Last names again. Let's buckle up, everybody involved. I have Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Alvin Kamara, Javonte Williams, and Josh Allen, and Mark Andrews. I'm 1 and 2 in a 12-man league. I want to call it. Yeah, I mean, your team's good, obviously.
Your team's good, but there's no reason to panic. If you're 0-3, you got a problem. But I mean, you're a game out of the playoffs probably. You'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Kamara does this week. I feel like that's going to make you very upset. Kamara's just that fantasy player. We'll see. But yeah, obviously your guys are underperforming, so don't panic. Don't panic. And Stefan talks about that Philly backfield if Derrick Henry was there. I guarantee Boston Scott gets a carry over Derrick Henry right away.
Yep.
Goal line touch. Give Boston Scott the ball. Okay. I'm gonna go back. Javonte Williams, Christian Watson. I truly tuned out what your answer was, but I'm not trading for Christian Watson.
Waiver Christian Watson. He's worthless in fantasy. I'll say it. I think worthless is a little strong. I don't think he's worth it because Romeo Doubs, I think, is a red zone target here. Him or Musgrave.
Yeah. Not Musgrave, but yeah, Romeo Doubs is for sure. I mean, Doubs is the more skilled wide receiver. Christian Watson relies on his speed and athleticism, which he absolutely does have. But that's why he hasn't played yet. And people are saying he's going to play tomorrow night. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Like, he's one go route away from popping his hammy again. And he's a player who can't play unless he's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be top tier athleticism. Otherwise, he's nothing. And Stu's right. It probably was Emma Watson, Shea Williams. What a duo. Okay. Dan Mann traded away Amari Cooper, DeAndre Swift, and Cortland Sutton to receive Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, and Michael Thomas. I mean, you bought low. I like your trade.
Let's just
hope they turn around now. Yeah, that's a trade I would have made. So
at the same time too, I don't think you really risk anything, right? Because if you drafted Swift, which I'm assuming you did, you probably got him 10th, 11th, 9th round, So he's probably running back 3 or 4. Probably don't miss much even if he sucks.
I mean, maybe. Let's hope that's the case. But maybe he drafted Chubb. He's been starting, Swift because he's been good. But now's the time to trade away Swift. I don't want to trust him going forward whatsoever. With that being said, let's see where I ranked him, because I remember that was kind of a nightmare.
Nighthawk, let us know if that's Christian or Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, please. Okay. Who was I fucking talking about? DeAndre Swift. I have him at 17. Let's see if that's lower than the consensus. We haven't done that yet. Then let's get off this fucking position. I'm 3 spots lower on DeAndre Swift at 17. So the consensus has him as a borderline running back 1, and I'm not there to trust it. I mean, Sirianni just said there's going to be weeks where he's the bell cow and weeks where he doesn't get the ball. And people are acting like, oh, now he's the bell cow. Okay, let's just listen to what the coach said. So trade him high now. But players I'm higher on, I'm 3 higher on Aaron Jones at 12. Apparently, I'm 3 spots higher on A-Chain at 22. Who'd have thunk it? Way higher on David Montgomery because people are ranking him, hedging wise, but I have him at 23 for this week. Kareem Hunt, I'm 4 higher on at 44. I don't think there's anyone super worthwhile. Luke did send me a message for points that he had because he wasn't on the show, and he said if Montgomery plays, he's going to score. And yeah, I think you can pencil that in every, week this season. But players I'm lower on, I'm 3 lower on Jahmyr Gibbs at 15, 3 lower on Swift at 17, 6 lower on Jerome Ford at 28, 3 lower on Rashad White at 30, and 3 lower on Kenneth Gainwell at 40. Any of the names stand out, or is there any running backs you want to talk about?
I'm just going to tell you, if you're listening, what's going to happen in the future. I'm just going to predict it for you just so you can save yourself some time. David Montgomery is going to come back. He's going to continue to get a decent amount of work. He's going to get goal line touches as well. And he's going to score touchdowns. And just like in week 1, everybody's going to say, oh my God, why are they giving the ball to him and not Jahmyr Gibbs? How dare they? Jahmyr Gibbs is so good. They spent all this on him. Let's just stop it. David Montgomery is fantastic at his role, and Jahmyr Gibbs is fantastic at his. They will both have the same roles they had week 1 this entire year. Jahmyr Gibbs will probably get some more of the runs early on, but let's just stop it. That's what's going to happen, and it's annoying, but, brace yourself if you have Gibbs, I guess.
I just don't know why people think David Montgomery is a bad player. Like, I think the only reason is because he played for the Bears, so people didn't watch him. They just assumed he was bad because the Bears were bad. I think he's extremely good. He's been one of my favorite running backs in the league for a while, so he deserves the carries. He's an upgrade over Jamal Williams in terms of running the ball. So we saw what Jamal Williams did last year. Get ready for David Montgomery to do it as well. But Nighthawk then he traded DeAndre Swift for Christian Watson and Isaiah Pacheco. That's super tough. I think you can get more.
Yeah, I don't mind the trade. I just think if you're going to trade Swift now, you could get more than that.
Yeah. I don't feel good about anybody in the trade. That's why this is tough. But yeah, you should be able to get more for Swift given the running back market right now. So Stu Fast Swift or Kylie Kelsey. I don't know why that confused me so much, because it's, for whatever reason, I'm just like, which Taylor Swift or DeAndre Swift? And I kind of really focused on that for a second.
Kylie Kelsey.
I'd love. Who the fuck? Who's Kylie Kelsey?
Isn't that Jason Kelsey's wife?
Oh, so this is a real question.
I would assume so. I don't know if that's her name for sure, but I'd assume that's what it is. I'm going Kylie Kelsey all day.
Jesus Christ. How is this the name question that broke my brain after everything we've been through? Yeah, Kylie Kelsey. I hate Taylor Swift, but I think that's probably the least surprising thing I've said on the internet. So
that's fair.
Stefan is Mark Andrews worth benching for someone like Luka Musgrave with how the Browns defense is looking, especially against tight ends. They've only let up 9 points to tight ends in 3 weeks. They've only played 4 plays in the red zone. The Browns are awesome right now. They are just playing old school bullshit football. Everyone's playing 2-shell defense like a bitch, and they're just like, nah, we're just gonna blitz everybody, and we're gonna beat the shit out of you. So I understand the concern. But you have to roll with Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I don't think this is even a question. Musgrave, like if you start Musgrave and he does well, people are like, why did you start Musgrave? If you start Musgrave and he does poorly, people are going to ask you, why did you start Musgrave? Um, his floor is very, very low. And Mark Andrews at least has a high ceiling. I don't think Musgrave does.
True. I am ranking Musgrave as a borderline tight end one this week, so I don't think it's a bad question. But um, I'm still sticking with Andrews. The thing is with Musgrave is usually for a fantasy tight end, you're just looking for someone who's going to score a touchdown, unless it's a couple names. And Luke Musgrave, I think, has one of the lower touchdown probabilities of any tight end. Like, I don't think he's going to be a red zone threat, even though he's huge and athletic. I don't think the arm of Jordan Love really allows him to be a red zone threat, and I don't think the Packers know how to scheme him to be a red zone threat. So I think he's just going to be a catch and high yard guy, which is a solid floor in PPR, but he's never going to be a top tier guy. And if Mark Andrews gets one catch for 5 yards and a touchdown, it's probably going to be the same day as Luke Musgrave. You know?
Yeah.
Kincaid's a similar thing, unfortunately. He's another, like, what's he? The fifth or sixth option in the red zone, maybe, at best?
At best, yeah. Shit, they like Latavius Murray more, too, so.
Right. And they're throwing it. I mean, they're playing both him and Dawson Knox at the same time. I don't mind Kincaid, but I would prefer Musgrave to Kincaid, if that tells you anything then. Nighthawk says he's been trying to get more with that Swift trade. Yeah, I feel like you almost have to pull the trigger on something before this week. Like, I just don't want to roll the dice with Swift having a bad game. But
yeah,
I don't think Watson's my target, though.
I think you still pull the trigger though, because I think you can then hold on for Watson and play the same. Because Watson's going to have a week he looks nuts or he goes nuts. I don't think he'll have a 3 touchdown week or a 2 touchdown week, but he'll have one where you can sell him high at least. I don't know if Swift will have another week you can sell him high.
I think that's fair. I mean, we've for sure seen Swift's best week of his career, probably for sure of the season. So I think that's fair. But it's not a must sell for me. But yeah, that's probably what I'd do. Wide receivers, again, half PPR here. My top 5 I feel okay about. After that, it gets weird. But 1 is Justin Jefferson at the Panthers. 2 is Tyreek Hill at the Bills. Keenan Allen 3 versus the Raiders. Devontae Adams 4 at the Chargers. And Stephon Diggs 5 versus the Dolphins. What do you think about those 5?
We do the same dance every freaking year, and it blows my mind. Every year we go into mock drafts, and Keenan Allen is like maybe wide receiver 10 off the board, 11. He's wide receiver 2 for most teams, and people are surprised when he does great things. He's been a favorite target for Herbert since he entered the league. He was a favorite target to other quarterbacks before then. Dude's an absolute stud. Now Mike Williams is gone. Eckler, I think he's going to be out this week, as well. Dude's just a PPR monster. And even if you're in half PPR, I mean, he just racks up yards like no other. He's an incredible player. He's going to be top 5 for the rest of the season for me.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like his floor for targets this week might be 18. Like, he's probably a 20-plus target guy again. So, got to feel good about him. Devontae Adams is terrific. He should embarrass a terrible defense. A talented but terrible defense due to their leader. I think the Eagles pass a lot this week. That's why I have Brown and Devontae Smith relatively high. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown lower than a lot of people. He hasn't done well against the Packers. The Packers have been able to stop him. Sometimes it's because they've decided not to stop the run. However, Amon-Ra, I think he's not going to be extremely effective. So I have him at 11, and I might drop him even further. What's your thoughts about that?
I don't mind it. I won't personally rank him that low, but I mean, proof's in the pudding, right? The Packers have been able to stop him for the most part. And if I'm saying who are they going to have a tougher time stopping, one of their other weapons, a running back, Sam LaPorta, or him, a guy who they've stopped multiple times, I'm going to err on the side of Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, great guy. He's going to get targets, but will that result in anything? Probably not what you're expecting.
I think Rasul matches up with him decently well as well. So that would be the matchup I would be looking at. I don't think it's even going to be Jair on him necessarily. Golden Dude 70. Who do you value more in PPR? James Conner or Michael Pittman? This week or beyond would be my question. Because for sure for the season it's Pittman. For this week, who the Colts play again?
The Colts play
The Rams.
Rams.
I'm going Connor for the week. I'm going beyond. Okay, so I think it's Pittman rest of season.
Yep.
Chris Ridley for Jonathan Taylor. It's so tricky training for Jonathan Taylor right now.
No.
I don't think you do it. You can't do it.
You can't trade a sure thing for something we don't even know if he's going to be playing week 5.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like it. Bronson trade Etienne, Addison, and Sutton for Diggs and Javonte. That's tough. I think Etienne's a top 5 running back rest of season. But you know what? I have to stand by my guns. I'm going Diggs and Javonte. I like that trade.
I'm not. But I don't think anybody's getting screwed either. I don't know. To me, it's just kind of a nothing burger.
That's fair. I think they kind of cancel out relatively well, but I think Javonte can be really good this year, and Diggs obviously is. Golden Dude, would you trade Derrick Henry for Garrett Wilson and Michael Pittman? I have Mixon and Kyron Williams. If you're bad at running back, then I think that's fair. I think it's fair because I mean, who do you value more rest of season, Trevor? Garrett Wilson or Michael Pittman?
Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I think it's close, but I think so. But I think both are probably okay wide receiver 3s. So I don't hate it. I would stick with Derrick Henry, though. I'm toughing it out. I think he gets better. And Luke says Najee Harris is a buy low right now. Well, he's certainly not a buy high. So
if he's buy low, Luke, send me a trade for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be better. But will he be good?
We also need to stop saying, like, look at Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren has done well. They need to block for Najee Harris or scheme something better, too. Like, don't get me wrong, Najee Harris has missed some holes, but, like, this is not all on him, clearly.
Right, of course. He's not a bad player. It's just tough. It's tough. I don't know where to value him rest of season. Is he a buy low? I guess, but the return on investment is going to be so small that it's not worth my time. This week he plays the Texans. Everyone's saying he's going to explode this week. Will he? We'll see.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, I can very easily see Jaylen Warren getting the 1 touchdown out of this backfield.
It might be a 13-7 game. Like, if you're D'Amico, are you saying we have to stop Kenny Pickett, or we have to just stop the running game and see if Kenny Pickett beats us? Like, it's pretty clear what they're going to do. So, I don't know. Is he buy low? Sure. What if I took out Sutton or Addison and put D-Hop in instead? That's trading away?
I don't think it changes much for me. I still want to do it.
I think that's trading away, right? Like, you'd be trading away those guys?
Yeah.
I want D-Hop. Keep D-Hop. He's been good. Regardless of what the stats say, Titans just have to block. I mean, if Ryan Tannehill doesn't have a chance to even get to his drop step, like, it's fucking impossible. Wide receivers that are notable. I have Puka at 12. I kind of want to lower him, but that's where he's at for me at the moment. Tutu Atwell's at 24. I do think the Rams pass. I just have a hard time trusting Puka as a top 12 guy. Tank Dell I have at 33. Adam Thielen in a revenge spot's at 30. Is there anybody notable to talk about? I think that's about it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's not
Um,
like the wide receivers. It seems like the divide between the good and the just there is massive this year. I know it's only been 3 weeks, but I mean, you're either
yeah,
putting up 15 targets and 10 receptions a game, or you're getting 5 receptions a game. It seems like the divide's been bigger.
I agree. I'm 3 spots higher on Keenan Allen at 3, 3 higher on Debo at 8, 3 higher on Devontae Smith at 10, 11 higher on Tutu Atwell at 24, 10 higher on Cortland Sutton at 26, 3 higher on Josh Palmer at 42, 5 higher on Robert Woods at 48. Any of those names stand out?
Oh, really?
5 lower on CD Lamb at 13, 3 lower on DK Metcalf at 17. I need to go up on him. I mean, Seahawks are going to destroy those corners, so he needs to go higher. Um, I'm 4 lower on Jalen Waddle at 22, 3 lower on Tyler Lockett at 23. Again, that's kind of tough for me, given how I project that game. 3 lower on Christian Kirk at 27, 5 lower on Nico Collins at 34. I'm 9 lower on Gabe Davis at 43. That's kind of wild. I don't know. Any of those names stand out?
I agree with you about CeeDee Lamb being a little lower than the consensus. He's obviously Dak's number one target. He's been a solid player, but fantasy value, I don't think, has been what his fantasy owners would want yet. And I think we have another week where he falls a little short of expectations.
Agreed. Nino, would you trade T. Higgins for Amari Cooper? I think yes. Stoof wants to know Higgins or Metcalf rest of season. I think Metcalf.
Yep.
That hurts to say.
Yep.
Notable Metcalf hater. Whew. Billy asks, start 2, Nico Collins, Michael Thomas, Javonte Williams, or DeAndre Hopkins. I think I'm going Michael Thomas and Javonte.
I'm going Javonte and Nico Collins, but I think I can see Michael Thomas too. I think Javonte is a guarantee in, Hopkins is a guarantee out, no matter what you do with the other two. I don't think you're going to get hurt too much.
Agreed. Fire in those last second questions while we go over tight ends here. My top 5 tight ends are Travis Kelce at the Jets at 1, TJ Hawkinson 2 at the Panthers, George Kittle 3 versus the Cardinals, Mark Andrews 4 at the Browns. He might go down a couple for me, but he's still a startable guy. And I have Darren Waller at 5 versus the Seahawks. Anybody there that stand out to you?
I want to see Darren Waller. I'm interested to see what we're going to get out of him. I think he's been largely unimpressive this entire year. And I think if a lot of people got him early, they're asking a lot of questions. He is the best wide receiver on this team, or target on this team, I guess. And he should be doing more. He should be getting open more. He's been healthy. And when his health isn't a question, he should be producing. And I don't think he's been producing nearly as much as he should be.
He's had a couple really tough matchups. I'd like him this week. I think he comes alive this week. But his schedule going forward, really quick, is Seahawks, Miami, Buffalo, Washington, Jets. Not super easy matchups, but they're certainly better than San Francisco and Dallas. And then the other game was Arizona, where he had 6 catches for 76 yards. Like, if you're asking for a touchdown, you're getting greedy. Like, that's a good game for a tight end. He'll be better. He's fine. Sneaky tight ends here. Luke Musgrave is still unowned in most leagues. Again, I have him at 13. I think he's going to be used going forward. He's dominating that snap share, which is about all you can ask for from the tight end position. So he's a guy you can certainly pick up and play over if you have been trying to play Pat Freiermuth or Dalton Kincaid, something like that. I think that's where Musgrave comes in right now. Agreed?
Yeah. Personally, I think Pat Freiermuth catches a touchdown this week. I think that's kind of my prediction. But um, man, it's tight ends have gotten a little better this year, but still not great. But Musgrave gives you a decent floor, and like we said, with tight ends, it's really all you need. You just can't get a zero.
Taysom Hill is tight end eligible in every format that I know of. And obviously, Derek Carr is down, so Jameis Winston's the starter. I don't know why the Saints wouldn't use Taysom Hill more at quarterback, you know. So he's at tight end 15 for me right now. He might move up a little bit, but he's someone who's not really owned, and that's definitely a sneaky ad right now, as long as Derek Carr's out for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know why they don't allow him to throw the football more. I guess for me, I know he's not going to be the greatest passer of all time, but it seemed like every time he was in the game against the Packers, it was a run play, it was an option play, and I get that's his specialty, but um, you would assume teams would be seeing that and selling out on the run, and that
Mhm.
should open up some passing, you'd think, but I guess we'll see what they do.
I'm not aware of who the offensive coordinator or play caller is for the Saints, but they they were really really bad last week. It's and I mean this entire season. It's been nearly fireable.
I
People
think
just
they
haven't
went.
been watching their games.
I think they went deep maybe twice against the Packers, and
Also,
Jair was out.
well, that wasn't the issue. I mean, they have a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter against a team that's done nothing, and they decide to pass it every single time once their quarterback goes out. Like, what are you doing? They run the football and you win. Just it's so easy. It's so easy. Just put in Taysom Hill and you win. But whatever. Fresh Prince talking to us on Twitch was offered Jamar Chase and Isaiah Pacheco for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Raheem Mostert. PPR league. What do you guys think? I'm scared of Mostert getting hurt or splitting time with A-Chain and Wilson. That's a correct worry to have. But do you think going from Chase to St. Brown is much of a downgrade, Trevor?
I think you have a very real worry, but I'm not doing this because you can still sell higher on them. I mean, Chase has had one good game. Monroe St. Brown has at least been consistent, and what has Pacheco really done? I mean, I understand you're worried about him getting hurt and splitting time, but there's no way this is the best offer you can get for that bunch. Somebody's going to overpay in your league, and if not, split them up and you'll get a better deal.
Yeah, I understand. Like, this is the week to trade Mostert. So I understand wanting to act fast right now with something. Um, I don't want Pacheco, and I don't really want to trade for Jamar Chase right now.
Nope.
I think you can do better. You can do better. But I like the idea. 0-3 with a stacked team, says Matt, but should he panic? Can't panic. Can't panic. Don't be a bitch.
I
Nut
think
up. It's time to win some games.
I think the only time to start panicking is if we're at the 0-5. I've seen crazier things happen.
If your team's stacked and you believe it, why aren't you winning? You're going to be good. Things will turn around. You're fine. Or your team's not stacked, and then maybe you should panic because you realized, oh no, I'm wrong about everything.
That's mean.
It's true. Is it stacked? I got fucking Matthew Stafford, who's an MVP candidate. And, we don't know. I'm assuming it's stacked and, he's just had some bad beats like Derrick Henry and people like that. We'll see. Just bad matchup plays. Okay, then you're good. Then don't panic. But if you're wrong, then maybe you should join the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. Share your team and we'll help you out. Maybe that's the solution. Eric wants to know, what do you think of DJ Moore for Nico Collins? First off, I hate same position for same position trades. But I mean, I like DJ Moore rest of season more, I guess, if that's your question. You have to be patient. You can't start him this week.
I feel like I've accomplished nothing with 1-for-1 trades, unless it's a running back for a wide receiver, to your point. So I'm not doing that even if Nico Collins was slightly better because, like, are you happy about it? Do you cheer about it when you see it's accepted? No.
Right. Brock lost Chubb. So did I. It's not a great feeling. full PPR. Should he trade Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, and Justin Herbert for ETN and Ayuk?
Hell no. Don't do it. You held on to Cup for 3 weeks just to trade him on the low for ETN and Ayuk? No, don't do it.
But that's Khalil Herbert, I assume.
Oh, I thought it was Justin Herbert. Okay. Well, that changes things a little bit, but still no.
Yeah, I guess if it's Justin Herbert for sure, no. But man, I think it's no. I think it's a no. I don't really want to trade Cooper Kupp before he hits the field.
Exactly.
But yeah, I understand wanting to get rid of a couple Bears,
It is Khalil Herbert. Okay, so I think that's a little more interesting. But like Ayuk isn't exactly the model of durability either.
Yeah, you need something better next to ETN, I think.
Yeah.
Stu says Captain Planet or Power Rangers.
Never
I've
saw
seen neither.
Planet.
I haven't seen either. So I don't know, man.
Power Rangers, I guess.
I was fucking watching sports and playing Pokemon. I don't know.
Nerds.
These nuts asks Rashad White or James Conner rest of season. Rest of season's tough with this one. I think I'm going Rashad White.
I'll go James Conner, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I'm just assuming he gets hurt, obviously. On a week-by-week basis, I think he's better. Durag on Twitch just traded away Isaiah Pacheco and 2-2 for Josh Jacobs. Love it.
That's how you do trades. It's the stock market, guys. Trade high, buy low.
Okay, this is the stack team. It is a stack team. Okay, you're good. But you got Josh Allen, Tua, Stroud, a lot of quarterbacks. You got Kyron Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyler Algier, Zach Moss, Ramondre Stevenson, Jonathan Taylor. Wide receivers is Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Josh Downs, and Josh Palmer, Elijah Moore, Hunter Henry, 10-man, PPR, super comp made trades.
This is why I'm assuming you don't have it if you're 0-3. This is why every league that is created from here on forward needs to have a game against the median every week. It just needs to. If you don't just take my word for it, I mean, in multiple leagues, I've done, quote unquote studies on it, looking at how the different standings would be. It still allows the schedule to play a part while also making sure a complete shithole of a team doesn't luck their way into the championship.
I think that's fair. But yeah, you should be good. I'm a little confused why you have 3 quarterbacks if it's not super flex. I feel like you don't need. I understand Stroud's good. I just don't think you need him. But yeah. I mean, I would be willing. I'll say this then: if you are just starting one quarterback, I'd be willing to trade Tua this week, and with one of your running backs and upgrade that. That's what I would do. Bye weeks. I mean. It's 2 quarterback. Okay. That makes more sense. Then you're good. You'll be better. I mean, you lost with Tua last week. Man. Lil Bro asked, would you trade Drake London and Jalen Warren for Cam Akers and Christian Watson? No.
I hate both Akers and Watson so much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't love Jalen Warren or Drake London either, but the better players are on the first part. So I'm going with the better players and assume talent prevails. Stu says Nacho Libre or Super Bad. I'm going Nacho Libre.
Super Bad.
Oof. Super Bad's good, though. I haven't seen that in forever. Espinoza just traded away Devonta Adams and Darren Waller for Jerry Jeudy. Oh. I don't think you just did that. I think I might.
That is fake. There's no way he did this.
Zach Espinoza. You're the wrong Zach Espinoza. You're the wrong Zach. This is like last week. So Espinoza brings a trade that maybe I was involved with. Someone in the trade traded away Devonta Adams, Darren Waller, and Jerry Jeudy for Puka Nacua, Sam LaPorta, and Brandon Cooks. I don't know. I like the Devonta Adams side. What about you,
Trevor? Wait, did you actually trade this with him?
Not with Espinoza. No. Was it with Espinoza? I thought it was with Zach McAdoo.
Did you pull off this trade?
Espinosa, you. I thought it was. See, this is why we have 3 Zachs, and this is the chaos I was looking for. I thought I was trading with Zach McAdoo. Yes, genocide
Jesus
is me.
Christ.
So Zach,
God.
yeah, okay. So you traded with me. I preferred the Devontae Adams side, which was me in a 16-team PPR.
Everybody prefers the Davante Adams side.
I really didn't think it was you. I thought you were pretending to be me again.
That's tough. That's tough.
We've been talking about. I'm gonna sell high on Sam LaPorta, and I decided to pull the trigger this week.
You're welcome.
Now, with that being said, I need Darren Waller to start performing, and I need Devonta Adams not to get traded to a dumpster fire. So we'll see. I don't think he won.
Speaking of brutal, it's Matt Merck said, bro, I've lost all 3 weeks by a total of 8 points. Again, bring in the league median for this. Like, it will make your league so much better. No more bitching, no more complaining. It'll make it better.
That is tough. Durag, what did Durag say before? He did that good trade. So his team now in a 14-teamer is Kirk Cousins, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Jamar Chase, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, George Kittle. On his bench is Montgomery, Elijah Moore, Tajay Spears, Justice Hill, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yeah, I mean you're looking good, I think. Hopefully running backs turn it around, but you'll be good, I think. One more. Okay. For whatever reason, I thought you said he has one moral, and I'm like, I don't know what this question means off the bat. Just bad eyesight. So Daniel wants to know, would you trade Travis Kelce and Jerome Ford for AJ Brown, DeAndre Swift, and Darren Waller?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely I am. I love Kelce, but are we really buying Jerome Ford here? I think you can take AJ Brown and Waller. I think that's a great duo, and then possibly swing Swift for, something else, sell high on him. I'm taking this every day of the week.
I hate Jerome Ford, but Travis Kelce's so good, man.
But
he's like the only consistent thing in an inconsistent game.
True, but I mean, you get Waller and a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2
on half the weeks. I would do it just because I would be itching to trade DeAndre Swift immediately after, which I think you can do an upgrade. I'm just not extremely sold on AJ Brown as a week by week player.
That's fair.
This year with what I've seen, but we'll see. Okay, so Espinosa's talking shit in the chat. What are we doing?
Ban him.
I love Sam LaPorta. I really love Devontae Adams. Yeah, Darren Waller's also good. Mark is cute as fuck. What a name. Did you make that yourself, Mark? Because that's tough. Should I trade away Breece Hall and Brandon Ayuk for Travis Etienne? Yes, I like that trade. It's a good trade. That's a close trade, but I like it. Yeah, man, if you start 0-4, gotta shake some stuff up. I have 1 chromosome. Would you trade Metcalf and Puka for CD? Great start. That's a good headline to start it with.
I would not.
You'd rather have Metcalf and Puka?
Somebody's going to give you something insane for Puka.
When?
I think now. I think you'd be shocked to know how many people still think Puka is going to be a very good thing, even with Kupp coming back.
Okay, but you have to make that trade happen this week. You can't wait for Cooper Kupp to come back and then trade Puka. I think I'm going CD. I think I would do it. But I understand the other side too. It was good doing business with you, Espinosa. And I understand I'm risking a little bit, but you look at my roster and you see how good my record is and how good this face is and how I am dominating that fucking league. I'm willing to roll the dice. I can wait a little bit on Darren Waller. He doesn't need to be good this week. I don't even care if I win. That's how far ahead I am.
The league when people are trading you Devontae Adams for pennies.
That's all we do. It's mind games. It's like I gave Devontae Adams for Puka. Yeah, he kind of did. And I took it. What? Are you saying you'd rather have Puka?
Let's just move on. Let's just move on. Mark is back. Should I trade away George Kittle and Jalen Waddle for London and ETN?
George Kittle and Jalen Waddle for London and ETN. Yes. I think Kittle's going to be inconsistent. He's going to be good at rest of season overall, but I think he's going to be inconsistent. Jalen Waddle possibly too. I'm just trying to get ETN.
That's fair.
So that's why I'm doing that.
I feel really dumb for taking ETN over Najee because the bye weeks worked out well. That hurt. Yeah. That hurts.
Matt, so I should trade for Josh Jacobs. If I can trade for Josh Jacobs, should I? Yes, I think so. I'm not overpaying for him, but you should be able to get it, relatively modest amount. Like he's going to do better than what he's done so far. Stoof, don't tease me like that. If Devontae goes to the Jets, though, that will hurt a little bit. I think Zach Wilson's been doing fine, though. I think second half of last game was okay. So I think he can get better. I hesitantly say I think brighter days ahead are for Zach Wilson, Matt doesn't have a legit RB1. That's why he'd be trading for Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I agree. You're kind of hoping Jacobs emerges as the guy he was last year. Possible. Definitely possible. I guess I didn't compare the tight ends to the consensus. I'll do that quickly. I am 4 higher on Taysom Hill at 15. I'm 9 higher on Noah Fant at 21. I'm 11 higher on Jonnu Smith at 27. He's been consistent and good. If you are in a deep league and super desperate for tight ends, I think go look at Jonnu Smith. I'm 5 lower on Pat Freiermuth at 14. I'm 4 lower on Jake Ferguson at 17. 4 lower on Gerald Everett at 22. 5 lower on Dalton Schultz at 28. I never want to see Dalton Schultz again. I'm done. I'm cutting ties. He's droppable. I'm good. Disgusting. I believed in you, Dalton Schultz. And what have you done? This is bullshit. Like, come on, dude.
He's the Kenyon Drake of tight ends.
I won't go that far because Kenyon Drake talks a little bit. Dalton Schultz, does he even exist? I don't know.
Dude, he's getting his check is clearing and he's good with it. And I respect it.
He's been paid so much the past few years. He was franchise tagged last year.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, so was Mike Gesicki. But
like we're talking about running backs, they're complaining about getting paid. Look at Dalton Schultz, man.
True. Good time to be a mediocre white tight end. So Matt wants to know who you should trade to get Josh Jacobs. Trying to find his team again. Okay, here it is. So who should he trade to get Josh Jacobs? The team's in need of running backs. I would trade Zach Moss, especially with the Jonathan Taylor news that he still wants to be traded out of there. And so Moss and JSN, maybe? Moss and Elijah Moore?
I can see that.
If they're super desperate, maybe Moss and Algier. Maybe they do value that high. I don't know. Yeah. Any other last second questions before we get out of here? Trevor, anything you want to get off your chest? Any other bad music takes that you have?
Damian Lillard is in Milwaukee, ladies and gentlemen. And I know this isn't an NBA podcast, but I'm so happy. Like I'm sad that we lose Drew, but like, holy shit.
I love Drew Holiday, but yeah, Damian Lillard's been one of my favorite players in the league for a while. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it. And then Luke said something about it. I'm like, uh-oh, did Luke get got? And then I looked again and it was real. So
also it's hilarious that the Heat are like tampering. Like you offered Hero another white guy in like 3 seconds. What the fuck? Of course they weren't going to say yes to that.
All NBA does is tamper too. Like,
and
relax.
You're the Heat. What are we talking about here? You tampered the whole offseason and still couldn't get him.
I will say, I think this kind of locks in the Heat beating the Bucks in the playoffs. But I do think it's going to be a fun season until then.
No way.
It has to. Storyline wise, it makes sense.
Hot take right here. You can book it. I don't know if the Heat aren't in the playoff game, aren't in the play-in games.
Do you think they're going to win the NBA Cup?
No. They're going to. Here's what's going to happen with the Heat. I've booked it right now. They're going to get to some places in the NBA Cup. Then they're going to rest some guys because we got to get ready for the playoffs, because there's no guaranteed spot in the NBA Cup because NBA is stupid. And they're going to
like 50K though.
And then Jimmy Butler's going to get hurt, and they're going to be scrambling to get back in there, and it's just going to fall apart late.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I understand. I like what you said about the NBA Cup because you do kind of have to go in for the NBA Cup. It's the first NBA Cup. Everyone wants the NBA Cup. The NBA Cup is going to be must-watch television all November. I feel bad for the NFL. That's probably why they've manufactured this Taylor Swift story, because we need people to continue to watch it when the NBA Cup is coming. It's incredible.
I'm pretty sure they called the Super Bowl the NFL Cup at one point too. What's to say this isn't the next Super Bowl?
I mean, certainly looking like it. The teams have everything to lose, but everything to gain. And that is why the NBA Cup is going to be so good. So good. NBA, let me interview the winners. That's all I want. Let me interview the winners after they win it. And I guarantee we will make internet history.
It's going to be so fucking funny when the Hornets win this shit. So fucking funny.
I hope there's an obnoxious amount of confetti. If I'm Charlotte and I do win that, we're having a fucking parade. We're going to do it all. It's going to be incredible.
Shut down the stadium, forfeit a game so you can have a parade. That would be so funny.
Have a parade while the Panthers are playing a game.
And then NBA Cup World Champion shirt.
Oh, I mean, this is going to be so much merch. I can't wait for the NBA Cup semifinals shirts. Semifinals champions or East champions. I will buy the shit out of whoever wins that. That'll be incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. And you'll get all coverage for NBA Cup. I promise you, on Flurry Sports. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to at this point in the sports year. Espinoza, Beach Boys over Beastie Boys? Question mark. I think no, but they do have one of the only tolerable Christmas songs. That's a banger. It's a banger. Merckx, would Stevenson and Algier be too much for Jacobs? I think so. I think
they would.
If I was the Jacobs owner and somebody offered me Stevenson straight up, I would possibly do it. I would for sure think about it.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, I think there's better days ahead for Ramondre Stevenson. Has he even scored a touchdown yet?
I don't think so. I truly look to trade Gibbs. I think he's a great player, but his touchdowns, I don't know how many touchdowns he gets this year.
That's fair. Obviously not a 1-to-1. You'd have to get more. He has one touchdown. But yeah, close. Trade Chris and Portis for Brandon.
No. Hell no.
Do it. Do it yesterday. Stu? I agree, Stu. Do it. Do it yesterday. Get Chris. I almost called him Chris Barnes. That's how little I think of Chris Middleton.
You rat bastard. Brandon Ingram has never won shit.
Yet. Why not now? Let's form a super team in Milwaukee. And when I say super team, you need Brandon Ingram there.
No, you don't.
At the very least, you don't need Chris Middleton there. You need him not there.
Yes, you do. You need Chris Middleton there. Absolutely.
Middleton needs he just needs to leave. Just leave voluntarily.
Dude, he's their third option now. That's the best third option in the league. Name one third option.
Third option's Rudy Gobert. That's pretty good.
The fact you're able to say that with a straight face is impressive.
You're very blurry, so I don't actually have to look at your reaction. Last question here before we get out of here. It's two-parter. Or no, Stu's got one too. And that's a very good one. That would be let's trade Giannis for McCollum. Let's recreate the Blazers. But Merck said no one in his league is high on Zach Moss because Jonathan Taylor issue. So Moss trade a no-go. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think wait a week. People will start to be more high on him once Jonathan Taylor's eligible to play. And he's not, if that's the situation that happens, you know?
Yeah.
Just got to survive another week. And then you'll have some answers. But yeah, this was Fantasy Football by Committee. Apologies for the audio-only listeners. I'm sure that was sort of a nightmare at times there. But just know you can listen to us 7 p.m. Central. Tune in live on the Flurry Sports YouTube channel. And if you want more of us and you're watching live right now, we'll be back in about 10 minutes for Lombardi Sweep, a Green Bay Packers podcast, reviewing last week's somehow come from behind victory and previewing tomorrow night's Thursday night football game. Hardy, really quick, would you trade DeAndre Swift and Calvin Ridley for...
Yes. Devontae Adams and Montgomery.
Oh,
yes.
Oof, butchered that. Yes.
Marcus Camby. Nice name, Steve.
Okay, we'll be right back.